Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Eye on Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Fisheries Insurance, Goil PLC, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, Maiden Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This program is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. This week, we are bringing you everything you need to know about duty calculations when it comes to the clearance of goods at the port. And we had in the studios an official from the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in the person of Smile Agboemenu, who is with the Policy and Programs Unit of the Customs Division of GRA. Let's take a listen.
All right. So let's talk about values. How do you determine values? For calculation of duty purposes.
The determination of customs value, so what that we call the customs value.
Yes.
I mentioned that the tax could either be ad valorem, which is a proportion or a percentage of the customs value or the value, or a specific one. So in this particular case, we are referring to when it is a proportion or a percentage of the value. So in the earlier one I mentioned, you needed to properly identify the product.
Right. Because
proper identification of the product will determine the value that is applicable. But of course, if you look into our Customs Act again, the determination of value has also been made, provision has been made for determination of value. Under Section 60 deals with determined value for used motor vehicles. And then under Section 67 down to 68 determines how to value general goods.
Right.
So 67 deals with customs value.
Right.
67.1 says for customs purposes, customs value is the transaction value or the price actually paid or payable for goods imported into this country.
Right.
I will not proceed further, but just to remain on this one, the transaction value, which says
transaction
the price
that's how much you bought the item.
Paid, how much you bought the item.
Right.
So, for example, if you take an item as Samsung SU24,
right,
which is a recent introduced Samsung phone.
Smartphone.
Proper description of this item is important because if you look at the Samsung same phone S24 has variations within the phone itself. So it could be of a one that has a 128
gig,
gigabytes
512 gig,
or
64 gig,
or 64 or 1 terabyte.
Right.
There are differences in these the prices of these commodities.
Right.
So the price you have actually paid for this item is what they are looking for.
Right.
There are some adjustments that we'll be discussing further, but that is most important. So, and if you look at the requirement for submitting a declaration, there is this provision that deals with proper description of item.
Okay.
And then the ingredients that you're expecting to see on an invoice, a commercial invoice.
Right.
So when you put all these two together, then determines that we are accepting your transaction value. Where we have reason to or not to agree or to accept your transaction value or the price you are indicating as having paid, then we go through other procedures, which is contained in Section 68 of the same Act, which tells you, which indicates one, by comparing it with identical goods.
Okay.
So it is Samsung S24, 1 terabyte. You compare with another Samsung S24, 1 terabyte, coming from the same geographical jurisdiction, preferably from the same supplier, and then coming into the country within a period of not more than 3 months from the time you are doing an assessment of the goods that is before you. Where you are not able to determine the value by use of that particular method again, then you go further to similar goods, a goods of the same kind, of the same functionality, probably not the exact goods, but then the one that is also performing a similar kind of
like that particular.
Yes. If you are also unable to determine the value from that one, Then you proceed further. So there are provisions that are laid down in Section 68
right.
where you are not able to agree or accept the transaction value.
Right.
Then it also goes to certain adjustments. The value before you, how do you adjust it? Some commissions, and so there are royalties. So there are a whole lot of things, but it is made very simple and clear when you go to Section 67 and Section 68 of the Customs Act 2015 at 891. But when it comes to the valuation of motor vehicles,
right,
that differs.
Right.
And this Section 67, 68 I'm mentioning is actually consistent with the World Trade Organization's General Agreement on Tariff and Trade valuation method, which we have adopted and incorporated into our Act.
Right.
The customs value for ad valorem tax calculation on imported goods is the cost, insurance, and freight, CIF, what we mentioned in CIF.
Value,
Now, let us come to decomposing this CIF. We look at the cost, we look at insurance, and we look at freight. So here it is mentioning, and in the other one, 67, 68, it's also mentioning the cost of freight. Freight is how much you have spent shipping the goods from the exporting country to Ghana,
to the
Ghana port here. So from maybe the port of Antwerp to the port of Tema, the cost of shipment. Then insurance is how much you have paid by way of insuring the cargo. The cost is everything from the cost of the item, how much you have bought the item, to the cost of you bringing the item to the exporting port, at where you'll be exporting the goods from whichever country to Ghana, including the cost of putting the goods onto the departing vessel. So we call the departing means of conveyance. And any other related fees and charges you would have paid. It includes it. That constitutes the cost. Now, for these used motor vehicles, it became difficult to determine because there are cases where the goods have been auctioned. There are cases where the vehicle had been, maybe whichever the condition is. We know how we buy motor vehicles. So it is via auction, it's via this. So we have standardized it to say, okay, for us to have a standard application of duty or application of value for used motor vehicles, let us go through this particular means. So it says that where the motor vehicle is, at the time you are importing the motor vehicle, if it is no more than 6 months, it's no more than 6 months from the time the vehicle was first purchased at the country where it is being exported from. If it is coming to Ghana and it's no more than 6 months, then you admit the vehicle by use of the purchase value when it was being purchased for use in that country. So if it is, say, Mercedes-Benz that is for at Germany, and you have bought the Mercedes-Benz from the showroom at, say, 40,000 euros. And this 40,000 euros does not include domestic taxes. You pick 40,000 euros. Then you begin to adjust that particular value. The adjustment is what has also been spelled out in the law. So if you look at 63, tells you how to adjust it. We call it depreciation. How you can depreciate this value depending on the extent of usage of the vehicle. So where it is not more than 6 months, they are saying admit it, no adjustment.
Only just as you bought it.
Just as it was bought, which is called the home delivery value. But where it is more than 6 months, but not more than 1.5 years, then adjust it by deducting 15% of that value. So you take 15% of the value. Again, if you look at where it is more than 1.5 years, but less than, not more than 2.5 years, adjust it by taking 30% of that home delivery value. Again, when it is more than 2.5 years, but not more than 5 years, it says adjust it by taking 40% of that value. So the value then becomes 60% of that home delivery value. Or where it is more than 5 years, to whichever period, adjust it by halving the value. That is 50% of the value. Then it goes beyond to say, okay, after you have done that one, then you have now determined the cost.
Yeah.
When you have adjusted, that becomes the cost. Then you add the cost of freight and that of insurance. Again, for motor vehicles to have a standard application of freight is when, again, we have also come out to have a standard freight to be applied to categories of motor vehicles.
Right.
It could be that of a category under saloon vehicles or as a sport utility vehicle. It could be, so there are variations under which we apply the freight.
Right.
It could be a 707, depending on the type of vehicle, determines the freight to apply. Once you have done that one, then you apply insurance. Insurance basically by law is when you are unable to provide evidence that your cargo had been insured. Then the law makes provision for us to apply a percentage on the cost and freight as your insurance. So if it is coming by sea, we apply a 0.875% on that cost and freight value.
Yeah.
If it is coming by air, we apply a 1% on that cost and freight value. That gives us the cost, insurance, and freight value, which we call the customs value. Then we now apply the rates of duty and taxes on that value when it is ad valorem.
Okay.
Iron Port returns after this break. Stick and stay.
Ohima, no be me taking number first.
By you. You tell me say take the number give me.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really?
Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, feel me talk number what?
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Fill up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goil.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him.
Hey, go for na buajungwa mami.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goil Super XP Ron 95. Goil, good energy.
Goil is good energy. Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah, our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
So welcome back from the break. Now news and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
One of the largest container vessels of Pacific International Lines, PIL, which has been named after the port city of Tema, KOTA Tema, has made its maiden call to the port of Tema. The vessel, which was constructed in 2024, has a length overall of 272 meters, a gross tonnage of 73,172, and a capacity of 7,000 TEUs. At a brief ceremony to usher in the vessel at the MPS Terminal 3 of the port of Tema, the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguji, said the Port Authority is committed to its responsibility of providing the infrastructure and supporting facilities to receive ships and cargo and handle them efficiently and safely. He described the Port of Tema as the hub for West Africa, as most containers coming into the sub-region from Senegal all the way down to Douala in Cameroon are received at the ports for onward distribution by smaller vessels. He revealed that the Port of Tema is working towards becoming the biggest hub in Africa. Mr. Lukuji expressed gratitude to PIL for their loyalty to Ghana and the Port of Tema over the years through both difficult and good times, and stressed the need for the partnership to be strengthened.
As Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, our responsibility, as you all know, as industry practitioners, is to provide the enabling environment for Ghana's imports and exports in cargo terms.
The Chief Executive Officer of MPS, Mohamed Samara, said his outfit has put in place the right infrastructure and equipment to receive any size of vessel and any volume of containers. He commended the Port Authority for its continuous investment in marine crafts to bring in all types of vessels.
GPHA has been constantly and regularly investing in port tugs and harbour crafts that help ships, dock alongside safely and also handle the increased capacity of the traffic within Tema Port.
Some clients of PIL spoke about how efficient Ghana's ports have been to their businesses.
When we compare to the other port facilities in Africa, we are getting a good service from Tema Port. Especially after berthing the vessel, within 2 days' time we are able to clear our containers. When you compare with the other ports in Africa, normally it will take like 3 to 4 days. But in Tema Port, we are getting good service, especially Tema Berth and Gapua. Both locations we are getting good service right now.
The efficiency of the port, the capacity of the port, the kinds of vessels that calls here, the frequency of the vessel calls and the speed with which the vessel turns around and all that has improved dramatically. So it's a good thing all in all. And with Tema becoming more and more of a hub for sea trade into West Africa, there is also the revenue opportunity for the country as well.
A Norwegian fisheries and oceanographic research vessel, Dr. Fridtjof Nansen, has successfully completed a 30-day fisheries resource survey in Ghanaian waters. The survey will provide the country with detailed scientific data on both pelagic and demersal fish resource, as well as the health of the marine ecosystem and the factors influencing ocean sustainability in Ghanaian waters. The research has the ultimate aim of providing crucial insights for both policy and pragmatic decisions in fisheries management. This transboundary survey conducted in the Western Gulf of Guinea covered the economic zones of Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana between 9th May and 7th June and is part of the 2024 work plan of the Ecosystem Approach to Fisheries Nansen Program of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, in collaboration with Ghana's Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Royal Norwegian Embassy. In a ceremony to cap off this exercise held in the port of Tema last Friday, the Deputy Director of Fisheries Scientific Survey Division of the Fisheries Commission, Eunice Ofolie-Num, stated that one interesting fact of the EAF Nansen program is the opportunity it grants to local fisheries scientists to participate in surveys.
A large number of Ghanaians have benefited not only from the job training on board the vessels, but from a wide range of training on topics such as taxonomy, stock assessment, fisheries management, ocean acidification, scientific writing, and there are even some who benefited in scholarship to get their masters and their PhDs.
The EAF Nansen Program Coordinator Meret Tansdad said the program is dedicated to its role as a catalyst for achieving sustainably managed oceans in the face of changing tides. Special Advisor to the FAO Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for Africa, David Fury, noted a critical role of the EAF Nansen Program in driving and supporting the sustainable management of aquatic food systems to eradicate hunger and poverty and foster economic growth.
Through the EAF Nansen program, FAO's vision for blue transformation is becoming a reality. Knowledge and tools are being provided for partner countries to build capacity and maximize the contribution of aquatic food systems to food security, nutrition, and affordable healthy diet.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator Charles Abani stated that in efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, actors must collectively ensure that artisanal fishing communities are not left behind, as they are among the poorest and most vulnerable in the world. The Deputy Head of Mission representing the Ambassador of Norway to Ghana, Cherry Holmes, said research vessel Dr. Fridtjof Nansen's presence here is testament to the enduring partnership between Ghana and Norway. On his part, the Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development of Ghana, Abdulaziz Ayaba Musa, said the Ministry and the Fisheries Commission, in collaboration with the fisheries associations and agencies, are pursuing measures to prevent the collapse of Ghana's fisheries industry.
We look forward to the results of this survey to inform our policies and our programs. As the research vessel concludes its mission in the Western Gulf of Guinea and sets sail for new endeavors, let us harness the power of knowledge, innovation, and collaboration to build a brighter, more sustainable future for Ghana's marine resources.
The Ghana Shippers Authority has assured the Ghanaian public that it is exploring innovative and more effective ways of seeking, promoting, and protecting the interest of shippers. To this end, the authority has organized a breakfast meeting for top shippers within the Southern Zone to deliberate on the cost and conditions at the seaports, airports, and land borders, following similar meetings with shippers in the Western and Middle Zones. This semi-formal meeting with the Platinum category of shippers, held in Accra, was also an opportunity for the Shippers Authority to consult this select group of stakeholders on the ongoing processes to amend the Authority's Establishment Act 1974 NRCD 254. The amendment aims to empower the Authority to address contemporary issues of concern to industry players, especially shippers, and to strengthen the Authority's oversight role over the commercial shipping sector. The Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Shippers Authority, Kwesi Bafo Sapon, said his outfit is adopting a preemptive approach to addressing challenges in the shipping value chain and also to champion a demurrage-free port in the shortest possible time.
The authority is adopting a preemptive approach to address challenges in the shipping value chain. Shippers will be sent prior notification of anticipated challenges with their shipment, so steps are taken to address them. Some shippers will be assigned relationship managers on an as-needed basis to ensure that your needs at the port are addressed.
He said, to improve service delivery in the industry, the authority is taking steps to implement the provisions of the Ghana Shippers Authority Regulations 2012 LI 2190 Section 6, which relates to service standards.
A key aspect of implementing this includes the signing of service level agreements, known as SLAs, with shipping service providers. Hence, GSA has formed working groups with freight forwarders, terminal operators, shipping lines to develop SLAs that match global industry standards and best practices.
The head of business development and commercial services at the Ghana Shippers Authority, Fred Asiedu-Date, made a presentation on the process associated with the amendment of the Authorities Establishment Act. He provided more details in an interview.
The process of amending a law is quite elaborate. It involves, first of all, understanding and defining what areas you intend to amend. It involves engagement of stakeholders to get their buying and their understanding and their input, most importantly, in terms of what needs to be amended. We already have secured cabinet approval to initiate this process, and the process is being led by the Ministry of Transport.
During an open forum, some participants expressed the yearn for the proposed amendment of the Shippers Act to equip the authority with the powers to bite when necessary.
A 9-member executive of the Regional Maritime University Alumni Association has been inaugurated with a charge to advance the school's mission and strive to strengthen existing partnerships with stakeholders. The acting vice-chancellor of the Regional Maritime University, Dr. Jesro Brooks Jr., in a speech said, over the years, the school has produced a collection of past students who have become stakeholders bound by a common goal of ensuring the progress of the university. He charged the alumni to make essential and practical investments for students to receive the best education to become leaders and contribute to the growth of their respective countries.
Current alumni executive must endeavor to promote strong relationships between the alumni of RMU, its current students, faculty, staff, and administration. It is also incumbent upon the alumni to mentor students, to become leaders, take up roles in their communities, countries, and the world at large while building strong collaboration and companionship among RMU alumni and ensure that they stay engaged with their alma mater to maintain the standard as the best as far as maritime education and training within the sub-region is concerned.
The outgoing president of the Regional Maritime University Alumni Association, Chief Engineer Teddy Mensah, thanked management of the university for their support to the alumni. He appealed to all alumni to contribute their quota towards ensuring they affect positive change in the lives of students.
The hope for a better future hinges on full participation by all members, offering positive critique to guide decisions made by Executive Council in the best interests of Regional Maritime University and effecting positive change in the lives of students, staff, and the Alumni Association.
The incoming president of the Regional Maritime University Alumni Association, Chief Engineer Samuel Moakon, promised to develop and implement programs that will facilitate meaningful engagement and also find solutions in the teaching and learning challenges on campus.
First and foremost, we must endeavor to make our alumni proactive. So I encourage us all to take an active role in our initiative to volunteer our time and experience and to contribute to the ongoing success of our alumni community. By doing so, we can ensure that our alumni network remains vibrant and influential.
There were solidarity messages from stakeholders, including the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, which was delivered by the Principal Marketing and Corporate Affairs Officer Kennedy Mona.
We are coming at a time where I think there are a lot of issues to address. I have had the occasion to pick information from the RMU that there is grants they're expecting $168+ million from donor partners for the transformation of the RMU. And I think that that's something that the new executive should be fixated at in partnership with the management of the university, so that you can see how best this particular fund can come to fruition, can be realized, so that we can transform the regional maritime industry.
The event was also used to swear in the newly elected executives of the Ghana Merchant Navy Officers Association, which is the professional body of seafarers and professional stakeholders.
Meridian Port Services Limited has continued on its course to contribute significantly to the regreening of the port environment. In addition to planting 1,001 trees last year, MPS has planted 1,002 trees this year. 2 days after the world celebrated Environment Day, the Chief Executive Officer of MPS, Mohammed Samara, together with staff of MPS and officials from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and other key port community stakeholders, dug up holes to plant new coconut trees along the main harbour road. An initiative that ties into the Green Ghana project, the CEO of MPS considers this exercise as an environmental responsibility that all within the port environment should commit to.
Well, I mean, once more, it's the environment that we're in. I cannot isolate us from the rest of the environment. Any responsible business, has to actually give back to the space that he took from the environment. No net loss is an ideology that we all should think of it. If I take from the environment something, I have to give her something back.
The Corporate Estate and Environment Manager at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Daniel Asari, said GPHA will continue to associate itself with such good causes that serve the environment.
Port authorities are now being called upon to adopt their operations as environmentally clean as possible. And tree planting has been one of the strategies that we use in checking our carbon footprint. So we plant a tree to serve as a carbon sink to protect the port from environmental pollution, because port operation is full of environmental pollution issues.
In Sekondi Takoradi, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has partnered the Ahantaman Girls Senior High School to promote environmental consciousness. In commemorating World Environment Day last Wednesday, GPHA led a tree planting exercise within the environs of the school. These include Viechia, Pride of Barbados, hibiscus, mahogany, cedrela, avocado and coconuts. In addition to planting 150 seedlings, the team from GPHA, led by the Estate and Environment Manager at the Port of Takoradi, David Helm, held a sensitization exercise to educate the students on why they need to take conscious care of the environment.
We are not just planting the trees and leaving it, but we're going to monitor the growth of these trees. We have marked each tree on a GIS software, where we'll be coming back every now and then to see how the trees are faring. We don't just want to do something on a day. We want this to be sustainable. 5th June is not a day just to pamper the earth, but it's a day to create awareness. And from that awareness, we take good care of the earth every day of the year.
The Western Regional Director for the Department of Parks and Gardens, Isaac Ephraim, emphasized the importance of the Green Ghana project.
Carrying out tree planting exercises goes a long way to increase the tree canopy space in the environment, help to sequester carbon in the environment, and also maintain the climatic conditions within a locality or a small area. Tree planting has a lot of benefits for us.
The students and headmistress of Ahantaman Girls Senior High School expressed excitement to be part of this noble cause.
So this partnership means so much because it's going to be a collaboration in the future. I know that there's going to be an eye on Ahantaman girls so far as environmental protection is concerned, and so far as our understanding and our preaching and spreading the good news about protecting our environment is concerned.
Goil plc, the leading oil marketing company in Ghana, has maintained its dividend to shareholders despite a challenging year. This was announced at the company's 55th annual general meeting of shareholders held in Accra. The meeting, which was also attended by other stakeholders, declared a dividend of 0.056 pesos per share, amounting to 21,944,335 Ghana cedis for the year ending 31st December 2023. The board chairman of the company, Reginald Daniel Lai, told shareholders that despite a tough operating environment, Goil plc achieved a modest profit of 54.7 million Ghana cedis. Goil, he said, will continue to showcase its resilience and its ability to generate returns for shareholders as a demonstration of keeping faith with them even in difficult times.
Your shareholding is highly valued and cherished. Therefore, despite the challenges we faced, the board has made the decision to maintain and recommend a dividend payment of 0.56 per share, reflecting our commitment to shareholder value and our optimism.
On assets, the board chairman noted that even though the consolidated total assets decreased from 4.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 to 4 billion Ghana cedis in 2023, the consolidated non-current assets, including property, plant and equipment, grew from 1.4 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 to 1.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2023, representing a 14.58% increase.
Additionally, the modest current earnings per share EPS of 0.14 Ghana cedis showcase our resilience and ability to generate returns for shareholders even in extremely difficult times.
On the future outlook for the business, the board chairman announced that the Goil bitumen plant is now fully operational and will soon be officially commissioned.
It's now time for some international ports and maritime news.
Soa Port and Free Zone has conducted the first biofuel bunkering in tugboat operations as part of its strategy aimed at enhancing marine sustainability and reducing carbon emissions. The port received its first delivery of biofuel B20, a mixture of 80% diesel and 20% biofuel, which began as a trial for Tug Soha. It also revealed that it has become one of the first ports in Middle East ever to use biofuel bunkering in tugboat operations. Soa Port collaborated with the tug operator, biofuel supplier Wakud, and bunker service provider Almost Marine during the bunkering. Classification Society ABS has awarded approvals in principle to South Korean shipyards for their designs of a very large ammonia carrier and an ammonia-powered tanker. At Posidonia 2024, ABS issued approvals in principle to Samsung Heavy Industries for the design of a midship section and cargo tank of a 96,000 cubic meter very large ammonia carrier. Said to be among the largest in the world, the ammonia carrier design resulted from a joint development project that included the production of a 3D structural cargo hold model from Samsung Heavy Industries for review by ABS.
It's now time for the phrase of the day.
Consular invoice. Consular invoice refers to a document required by some foreign countries showing exact information as to consignor, consignee, value description, etc. for a shipment.
Now, schedules of vessels in the port, those at Anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate you need to know to clear your goods from the port next.
We have your comments next.
Hi, my name is Mohammed. If I import a car I purchased through auction in the USA and I have documents to support that, why does customs still use their own values to calculate the amount of duty to be paid? Well, Mohammed, according to customs, the legal provisions in Section 60 of the Customs Act do not permit customs to admit the vehicle using how much you bought it at the auction rate. Morgan says, my brother cleared his car at the port last year and made mistakes when quoting the engine size. By inputting a 3.5 capacitor engine instead of a 2.5 capacitor engine, we were told there will be a refund in 3 months, but it's over a year and we are being told government has placed a hold on refund. How true is this, please? Hello, Morgan. Small Agbemenu says, visit the sector command or the commissioner's office to lodge this complaint for proper redress, and once you have paid tax for which you are not to pay, the Commissioner General is legally bound to refund the whole amount.
That's all for this week's episode of Iron Pot. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week.